Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, they're about done with the ServSafe, but, we've since found out that, care and compassion right now.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to grades, the main thing I did was hopefully kept the material in their mind and just, kept it forefront so that they could remember it, because I'm going to probably have about 10 of them come this summer to test. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, hopefully, the ServSafe modules, it really does amplify their ability to pass, but obviously they have to take it seriously.
Oh yeah, and when they hear everybody talking about care and compassion, grades don't count, their care tends to go out the door. So
yeah, but the certification doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I keep telling my admin, I still, if I want to certify kids this year, I still have to be serious,
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, because you can't just give people a ServSafe certification just because
exactly.
Especially
well, they our seniors are done May 8th.
Uh-huh.
And they pretty much told us to be done May 8th. So
yeah,
we still have till the 22nd technically on the books, but
yeah, and I understand why a lot of people are ending sooner, because for a lot of the other teachers where they have to make up all of the materials, it's overwhelming.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm watching some teachers, pull their hair out right now, and I'm like, oh, you should have done what I did.
Yeah, well, I guess you're the wiser, and hopefully next year, if it'll be a bit different story. Okay, great. So did you have any questions about the platform, about using the program? Or I see Brad has just joined us. Welcome, Brad.
Thank you. How you doing?
Doing good. So
good.
So it's just a Q&A. So right now we were just starting off with like how things are going for you and your students. Has been going well? Any hiccups? Have you been pulling your hair out?
I didn't have much to pull out to begin with, so.
Yeah, I see that you got your quarantine beard. This is my quarantine beard.
Yeah, exactly. I saw your post the other day. I laughed because this is the one and only time I was like, I never let it grow out, because I'm not in the kitchen right now and producing, so
yeah.
I'm just gonna see what happens.
Yeah, this is 6 weeks for me now, or 7 weeks I think, but yeah, this is my 7 week.
That's what you look like. That's what you look like in high school.
Yep. I know, I haven't done it since high school.
It's definitely not what I looked like in high school.
Anyway, so how have things going with you, Brad?
They're good overall. The main issues I had with the students starting out were they jumped right past orientation and just jumped right into a module, and then started hitting me up with all these questions about, well, why can't I do this, or I don't understand this, and I was just like, I would go back and look, and I was like, well, you didn't go through orientation.
Yeah,
that would really help.
Yeah, it's not like any other thing they've ever done online before. Our system is very unique.
Yeah, no, definitely, and it's great overall working out. I'm learning as I go. I'm reading the tutorials that you guys sent out. I'm signed up as a student. I'm going through module by module, so I see what they're going through. We've split it into first and second year students, and so I'm still actually, obviously, I'm going through everything. So I'm on everything we're doing as first years. But I've been concentrating on a lot of the stuff with second years as well. And it's going pretty good overall. There's, little hiccups here and there. I look at the support group a lot, and a lot of times before I even post a question, I find one that's already posted and see the answers, and that helps out a ton. And the few times I've posted, I've gotten immediate feedback from you or Jeff, and that helps out a ton as well. I actually got one question this morning, which I should have thought about and never did. One of my ENL students asked if there's a way to get audio translation.
You mean for different languages?
Yeah, for like Spanish, and I've got Burmese.
So actually, our program has an open format, unlike other publishers where they lock everything down. So with an open format, that means that all of our content pages can be translated using plugins. So if you're using Google Chrome, if you download the Google Translate extension, you can have the text on the screen be converted to any language, and then and then you can use a text to speech engine to then read it to them. And the one I like is called Read Aloud.
Read aloud.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that was gonna be my second part, because the text translator I figured we could figure out, but a lot of my students are like, well, I understand, even my Hispanic students are like, I understand Spanish, but I don't read it or write it. So
yeah, so
that helps out a ton right there.
So yeah, so basically any extension can be used to automatically translate, and then you can use a text-to-speech engine. So I'm going to pull up here.
No, that makes a ton of sense, and I appreciate that. And I'm not the most tech savvy, so sometimes things I hear, I'm just like, oh, well, maybe I should have known that, but that helps out a ton right there.
And yeah, so especially with special needs, there's definitely a lot of things that would be applicable for that. And this is a good text-to-speech engine in general. I mean, most of our stuff is already narrated, but this one lets you choose a myriad of languages and voices and styles. You can have an Aussie English or British English, or anyway. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's the extension that I use or I recommend. So.
No, that's great. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So welcome, Garnet, to the Q&A session. So, I mean, we started off with like a question like, how are you doing? How are your students doing? Are you pulling out your hair? And I see you've already done that.
Nice.
That was a funny comment by Sandra earlier. She mentioned that all of her peers are pulling out their hair, but she's doing fine. So, anyway, unless Michelle, did you fix your audio problem, or are you able to speak now?
Yes, I did.
Okay, great. So,
yeah.
So actually, let's circle back to Michelle, because she was here at first, but her microphone wasn't working. So, same question. How are you doing? Anything we could do to help?
Well, we're doing well. We are going back onto campus next week to finish out our labs, because the governor of Texas has deemed us as essential. We are a technical college, and we train line workers and welders and cooks.
Wow.
So all that's going back on. And
I guess that's neat or interesting.
It is most definitely.
What state are you in?
Texas.
Okay, Texas. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. They're
in the heart of Texas.
Right to ramp things up.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So we've been primarily my baking classes have been using the KP, which is great. I think they've gotten a lot out of it. And I'm trying to get the other competencies on there as well, especially Serve Safe, because I see that you have such, success along with the Pearson work that the students are doing.
Yes.
We are going to a hybrid. So all of our lectures, quizzes, assignments will now be online. And we will meet for a smaller period of time to do our practical work and demos. So that's basically where we're at. I have invited my faculty to join in on this Zoom, but it was a little bit late.
Okay.
So yeah.
We can host another one in the future, now that, and now we have a little more time.
Yeah. But I can foresee utilizing, and I know that our online education group is looking into purchasing KP when we, when the free trial is done.
Yeah, thanks a lot. We definitely appreciate the support.
Yeah, because like I said, I can do as much as I can do in person, but it's great for them to kind of go through these different modules, see other folks doing it. It's
and really reinforce their learning, and that's
exactly.
One of the things that we touted for the past 10 years is the flipped classroom model, where less time
Yes.
lecture, more time in the lab, because hands-on, you cannot never substitute that, but they need the knowledge beforehand to be effective in the labs. And that's actually hails back to our moniker, KP, putting knowledge into practice. So,
Michelle?
Uh-huh.
So sorry, Michelle, this is Jeff. I've been working with you by email.
Right on.
Just so you know, for your additional instructors that aren't able to help it, we can set up something down the line before next school year comes around. Just you guys and then me personally. We can do one of these similar, assuming that we do go forward with the purchase. So don't worry about the ones that missed out today, it being last minute or anything. We'll get some formal training for them as well.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
Yeah, great. Any questions about the platform, or just providing feedback?
I'm just providing feedback at this point. Some of the students have had problems logging in, and I think that whole idea of not doing the orientation, not reading anything, that's really kind of jumbled them up. And even with the faculty, they're like, what am I doing? So after they go through it gets reinforced and they understand it. But I like the use of different modules and instead of it all being read this and answer that question, there's videos and things and goals that have been really helpful.
Yeah, oh, wonderful. Well, glad that we are able to help you with this process, and you can definitely see a future with what we do.
And I'm really excited to see you now 10 years or so after we met at a Feeney Food Educators Networking.
Yep.
And you were talking about this whole flipping classroom.
Yeah, I've kind of been pushing it for a long time now, haven't I? Like eventually it's going to become a big thing. And here we are. Well, thanks. Benny, I missed that conference so much. It was a great one. I've been going to that for like 8 years until they stopped. Great. Well, thank you very much. A little blast from the past. Hello, welcome, Celine. You just joined us.
How are you, sir?
Good. So we're basically doing some Q&A or feedback about. We're here to answer any questions at all through this process. So and we've already heard from 3 of you. So Garnet, you're next on the list. So any questions, any comments, anything we could do to help?
Well, good afternoon, probably morning for you guys.
Yeah.
We're in Michigan, pretty much locked down still to the end of the year, and my feeling is we might even end up doing a hybrid in the fall. Who knows? With the distancing, but I've been taking my kids. So we have 3 instructors. We're at a high school. We're at about 600 students. So I'm kind of doing the pilot program with this, and this might be something that we're going to look at long term, of course. But I've been going really along with the kids. I think they've been pretty good as far as getting back to me if they need something or if they're confused. And sometimes I'm confused too, and I have to kind of go through it with them. But the tutorial worked really great that you sent out. Me being kind of a visual learner, it really made things a little bit more clear. And I think pushing buttons here and there and just kind of figuring out it, along the way has really, really helped. So I think we're doing the same thing. I kind of came in here late that some of the kids are not, where I see they're skipping past the orientation, those type of things where I'm kind of re-emphasizing to kids, you have to take it step by step, and you're going to create more work for yourself if you're just jumping ahead. So I kind of like that idea. And I think kids are finding out if things continue to be red boxes that they need to make them into, the yellow or the green. So I think this is going to be a long-term thing. I think, even like you were just saying in school, it's nice to have this where kids, they do this on their own. They have more lab time. And, So it's been positive so far, for sure. And I really appreciate you guys making it available for no cost so we can kind of try it out. So it's been good. It's a learning process for sure for everybody.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'm glad we're we try to make it as easy as possible. So, but yeah, the students still have to go through that orientation module because we're unlike any other online learning platform out there. Much more sophisticated and powerful, I guess. Anyway, so any questions on using the platform or no?
For me, I'm just, I'm getting to the point, like I said, I'm going through I'm doing a lesson plan right now for next week. Mm-hmm. And just kind of jumping ahead, not really requiring our kids to do a lot of the end labs for the badges. Just because, in our state, I think we're going to do a credit, no credit type of thing. Mm-hmm. But further on, that's something that we're going to probably end up doing, whether it's in school or at home. Yeah. And, I like the idea too, that I think a lot of people, and I had a Zoom meeting with a ProStart people in the state yesterday, and looks like they're scattering a little bit, as for ProStart, they're not sophisticated enough to really have anything in line for support. And, one of the things is for our special population kids, and what are we mm-hmm. doing with those kids? And that's been a real challenge. And so this program is, able to modify things has really been a nice, it's been easier on the instructors for sure.
Yeah, great, and especially with the special population or special needs, you could definitely tailor it to what they need, or shrink it down, make it more focused, have simpler tests, for example, and everything like that. And also, I don't know if you were here earlier, but Brad mentioned that the ability to translate it into Spanish.
Yeah,
you could also address that type of needs as well. I mean, it can even be in Polish. I think, is there a large Polish population up in Michigan? I'm trying to remember.
Well, in Hamtramck. So I'm about 30 miles west of Detroit. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're in the suburbs. So we're not in my area.
Okay. Anyway.
What school are you from?
I'm from Anchor Bay School District over in the far east side of the state.
Okay. I'm from Oakland Schools.
Oh, okay. You're close.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Garnet, for that. So we have a question from David, but I want to hear from Celine first. So, the question was, how are you doing? How's your students doing? And anything we can do to help?
No, just had a staff meeting, and just as we figured, going forward in the fall, we will, this may be our curriculum for the fall, but it won't be emergency remote. It will be part of our inclusion into our classroom, which is going to be good. So again, this is good practice for me, good practice the students are in, but you're absolutely correct, the gentleman who spoke before me, David, that you have to go through the student orientation, else it doesn't make sense to the students. They can't just jump to the modules. So, but anyway, that's it.
Well, thanks for the feedback. And actually, like, there's been talk about like staggering students as well. So, half the population goes in for one day, another half goes in the other day.
Sure.
And this will definitely help out in that type of situation for continuing the education in a flipped model, I guess. So interesting times, to say the least. Cool. So here it says, David, what do you mean by modules don't seem like they're populated? So that's a question you posted in the chat. So David? Hello? David? I see your microphone's activated, but can you hear us? Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was thinking I was muted. Okay.
Oh, it's okay.
A couple of my students have been on KP and checked it out for one of our classes, and one of them went through the module and actually shared it with me on.
Oh, so like the page is blank or something like that, or
here for him.
Yeah, so the module is blank where they can't see anything. That actually happens when you use a function called edit schedules to create rotations. So if you start using that tool and a student enters and you don't assign the student a module, then they'll see nothing. So that may be what you're running into. We typically don't use scheduling or rotations because that tool is designed for labs where, like, let's say you have a group of students doing knife skills and another group of students doing sauces, and then you can rotate them through the different modules in a classroom. So, like, 1 week you spend on this, another week you spend on that, and so on and so forth. So we don't typically use that tool. That's designed more for like middle school applications where they have limited resources and equipment. So that might be what happened to you. So what Jeff will do is he'll take a look at your account and see if that's the case, and then correct it. Or you can correct yourself by going to that tool and deleting all the rotations. All right. So besides that, how are you doing? How's your students doing? And anything else that we could do to help?
I think actually they're enjoying it quite a bit. I have noticed that there are a couple of answers that in some of those tests that are incorrect.
Okay.
Can we edit those ourselves, or should we?
Well, no. Bring that up to our attention, because we can change that in the system. So if they are incorrect for some reason, we could fix that. We do have like a ton more questions than most item banks out there by other publishers. So once in a while, one slips through where it's marked incorrectly, but it's been through quite an extensive editorial process. So
right, I hear you. And I've just offered my students extra credit if they can find the incorrect answers and point them out to me with the exact location. So.
Oh, that's actually a great idea. That's like really incentivizes them to really look at the question.
Exactly.
I mean, there might be 1 out of 1,000, but and we maintain, like, I think we have like thousands of questions in the program. But yeah, that's actually funny. So you get a bonus for spotting something wrong. Back in the early days, we had typos and had to work through that. Thankfully, a lot of teachers point those things out pretty quickly. This is back in like 2003 days. So it's actually come a long way. Actually, I was curious. Like, I've been sending like little fun facts through the weekly email updates. What do you guys think about that edition?
I read them. I like them.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I know. I just wanted to dispel that we weren't like just came out of nowhere kind of thing. We've been at this for over 20 years, so it's not like I don't know, like most tech startups. It's been dedicated and devoted to this, and definitely appreciate everyone's support. So, well, that's really cool. Anything else anybody like to add? How the students been doing in their labs. I actually participated in the Zoom yesterday from a teacher. I can't remember her name, but she basically built all of her own online lessons, which when I was looking at what she was building, I could see the amount of time and work she put into it. But she had a really great way of conveying the lessons to her students by actually doing a Zoom meeting and then cooking in front of them as a method to do that. So anybody try that, or anybody have any other things that you've done that works really well with your students remotely?
We've been doing short demos. So we'll meet with a Google Meet. We'll show the PowerPoints, and if we have live action demos, we'll play those as well. because we haven't been able to be face to face with anybody except through the Moodle, not Moodle, yeah, Moodle or
Yeah.
Google.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So I have a question about
Yes.
where you got all your questions, and because I see that the culinary has been developed by a chef who is a ACF member, and I've been working with the ACF to update all of the testing for certifications and credentialing.
Yeah.
And I know how incredibly difficult it is to formulate the questions and get everything categorized.
Yeah, so you've been checking out the item banks with you by creating tests, correct? And seeing the whole list of questions in the categories. Well, I mean, we wrote them ourselves. So, I mean, this project started in 1997, and over the years we just kept adding to it, 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 you know, I had a back around 2008, I had an editorial team. After 2008, I don't have an editorial team anymore. Because that's when a lot of things were cut back. Yeah, everyone knows that. But yeah, over the years, we basically built the materials, and so we didn't do it like overnight or anything like that. So that's basically how we came up with all the questions. And actually, our system requires a lot of questions to work, because that's how our artificial intelligence works. Is like, you know, pretend like, you know, I'm your teacher, and you're the student, and I'm going to quiz you. And I only have 2 questions that from my selection to quiz you on. How well will I be able to know your understanding of that material if I only have 2 questions? I mean, these were probably 2 awesomely written questions, but let's bring it up to 10 questions, you know, 20 questions, and so on. So the more questions are in a particular page or concept, it increases the intelligence of the system because it gives variety. But we also use item response theory and analytics to be able to measure the responses from every student. So every student's responses in the questions catalog, and then that value is actually built upon that question. So that, you know, basically, to boil it down, you know, if a question gets answered 90% of the time correctly the first time a student's encountered it, then we devalue that question, because that's an easy question. It might be the most awesome question written in the world, but if everyone's answering correctly, then there's something about it. And then versus like other questions that were trying to have more mistakes categorically, then they will have a higher level of value to it. And the values keep changing all the time. So that's how the intelligence system is built into it. And actually, you know, one of the things that we're going to be doing this summer is our system, you know, already has loaded with all the culinary arts content, but yeah, it's actually also an authoring tool. So on top of that, you can actually build modules in any subject that we don't have. So we've actually had teachers use it and build music curriculum. And basically, the curriculum doesn't have to be content that you write. Actually, it could be a website. And if you pull a website into our system, kind of like, you know, what I did with the video example of adding links and videos, if you add 5 questions to it, then that becomes part of the intelligence system. If you add 10 questions, even more. So you can actually assess them on web material, then, you know, and instead of like, you know, things that you would find in a traditional textbook. So that's one of the cooler things that, like, you know, once you become more familiar with the program, have a little bit more, you know, understanding of curriculum design, you could actually build some amazing projects and modules in it. Like one of my favorite things to get teachers to do is doing multi-level projects. So a project within a project, in a way. So like, you know, so multi-tiered. So like, you know, the project is bake a cake, but the first project that you need to do is understanding how to make your own icing. So that project will be done, and then you grade it against a rubric. If they complete that, then they earn that badge. And once they earn that badge, then the baking a cake badge will start to reveal. So those badges will be prerequisites to baking a cake, as an example. You know, so like, you know, understanding icing, understanding the cake, decoration. So the creativity can go in many directions. But so that's just some of the cooler things that you could do with the tool.
Some of the cool ones that I've seen teachers do is they'll build their own module based around whatever your school competes in. If it's SCCLA competitions, they build their own module with instructions and helping the kids through that process.
Or
to whatever it is. And that, I think that's a really cool idea that I've seen a few take advantage of. Where we stick to culinary knowledge, but they have the competition. We don't have competition. So they build their own module with instructions and places for students to work.
Yeah, so there's a lot of potential there, and that's one of the things I'll be probably focusing on moving forward is how to, getting teachers the ability to be able to build those things. I know it's one of the requested items, like making your own projects. So it's a little bit involving, but once you do it once, then it's very easy moving forward. It's just understanding the mechanics of how the authoring tool works. Might take a few days to get through. So anyway, that's just rattling things off the top of my head. But there's definitely a lot of built cool things that can happen from that. So again, great question. I mean, I guess I went in an entirely different direction when you answered where the questions come from. But thank you, Michelle, for that question. Anything else from the crowd? Like to know anything more? Like to know some more advanced things?
I'm still practicing with what I learned this week. Okay.
Yeah. Baby steps. Absolutely.
Right. Yep.
Definitely.
Okay.
So has anybody done use parents as their taste tester for grading rubrics? Anybody tried that yet? No.
What is that?
No, I mean, so one of the most difficult things about remote learning is you can see the technique, but you can't taste it. Taste is absolutely important when it comes to culinary arts. And an idea was being tossed around hey, parents can be taste testers. they can assume the risk.
Well, next week I have the knife module, and I send out a blast the week before. I'll send it out tomorrow so they'll know that's the module they're working on. And I did put in there this week that no knife practice at home is required, because I don't want students to come back and say, or parents come back and say, we didn't have the material and you required this. So it's just learning knife knowledge, construction, maintenance. It's refreshers, how I worded it, so that would not be an issue with different parents. Different homes.
We've had quite a few teachers that have asked me specifically how they remove that specific module because of liability issues more than anything. You're not there to supervise them, more of a safety aspect as well. But yeah, you are doing the right thing along that line, that being proactive ahead of time, warning parents.
And I just removed the badge from it, the activity. I just removed the activity.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the knowledge can be there, but not requiring the practice. That's very important, especially when it comes to knife skills. Although if they want to voluntarily,
but there's other good information in there that they may have forgotten that they need a refresher on. If they do practice, that's fine, but it's not required.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you can, because we talked about the cheesecake the other day.
Yes.
I guess you could say a parent tried that. So.
Yeah, I know that was a very unusual. That was because we were converting and it just got copied and pasted.
But it was pretty funny. Of all those recipes, she picked that one.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And we did correct the audio portion as well. So that's.
Oh, did you? Okay. I didn't go back and check the audio, but I did check the recipe and it was fixed.
Yeah, and those things that we could do pretty quickly. So thanks. And it's good that they're making the stuff.
Now, not many are. Of course, when I went and reworded some of the activity questions to sorry about that, to say that if you aren't able to do this activity, then of the listed cookies above, pick 5 of the cookies and type a document that describes the differences in these cookies.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Oh, cool.
So this way they didn't, you know, actually physically do the activity, but at least I know they read the material because they had to type it out in a document. And then that's what they uploaded under the submit stuff.
Cool. Did you get some really interesting responses?
Oh yeah, I have. I've gotten some very interesting responses.
That's pretty cool. Are you actually in your classroom?
I am.
Oh, cool.
I am. Yeah, we're allowed to come to our classroom. Of course, we're the only ones here, but.
Yeah, at least you got a place to go.
I can't stay at home.
Yeah,
I can't stay at home. I was going stir crazy.
Yeah.
Sandra, you need to ask him if he's actually on a tropical island.
Yeah, I know he's not. Just like I know you're not actually in that beautiful kitchen behind you.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm not. I can go from there to the Shire to, I mean, I can go. It's just fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. I had my see, I put a black background on mine and my eyes were black.
Really?
Yeah. So I had put my you know, my Chipley Culinary logo on my background and it made my eyes black. So I said, no, I guess I can't do that.
That's actually kind of funny, in a way. Yeah, no, that's cool that you're actually able to go back.
I'm moving around because I got somebody at the door knocking on the door waiting to come in. So.
Okay.
Now, one question: when they submit information to you, it comes to your email, or you just go back into KP Compass to retrieve it?
It goes into KP Compass. So when they submit something, it goes there, and then you'll have to accept it or reject it. So.
Now it doesn't go to our email, does it?
No.
No.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I've never gotten an email that said they've done it.
No, we don't do any emailing through the system other than for password.
Okay, I will check that then. I will check to make sure.
You know, that would be good. That would be good if you could ever do that.
Oh,
yeah, I kind of second that. It'd be nice to somehow link it to where they can directly respond to us for, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Because there have been times where I clicked on the little letter and I say, oh man, I can't do that. I got to go somewhere else to be able to type something to them.
Oh yeah, are you talking about project responses?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's a reason why we don't do that, because a lot of other things would have to be done to be able to enable that feature. So
that's fine. Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah.
I mean, it works the way it is, but.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically, you just gotta check every day, look at dashboard, and see if there are any numbers next to.
Believe me, they'll tell you.
or yeah.
Yeah, they send an email that says, "Okay, I did some things. You haven't changed my grade."
Okay.
Yeah, and that's actually, you know, with the projects like that we have in there, you can actually add even more prompts, so that basically each prompt is a checkmark box next to completing that project. So you can actually add more things to it to make them jump through more hoops, so to speak, to earn that badge. So there's definitely a lot of additional things that can be done with that.
I'd like to know more about the badges where I could teach the kids that this is, I don't think they have a clue that that's what they're doing. I don't think they just see the colors on the boxes. I don't think they see anything tied to what a badge is. Yes.
Well, I mean, when they enter the project, you'll see the red circle, and as they do things, the red circle starts to reveal. So I don't think we took you through that process because when we did the initial review, but that badge on your screen looks full, but on their screen it's completely blocked by a red circle, and as each
it uncovers.
It uncovers slowly, you know. So let's say there's 10 evidence elements in there, then basically that means that the pie will move 5%. So that they submit it, it opens up a little bit, and then you read it opens up more, or I
see. I guess I never noticed it either as a student because I got in. You know, I've been doing the ServSafe ones.
Yeah. Actually, ServSafe, there is no projects for badge.
Oh, okay.
That's
right. So it's only on the activities.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a student account too, you would have had to send evidence and then log back into your teacher account and actually grade the evidence you sent for that badge to change.
Yeah, I've done that.
So you might not, even if you're going through it as a student, unless you're actually doing the activity yourself and taking a picture or writing an essay, you're probably not writing an essay to yourself.
Well, yeah, I'll put the word yes in there. I'll put the word yes in there and submit it and then accept it on the other end, so I know what it does. So.
Yeah, exactly. So you could, you could actually use, like, if you're adding prompts, like, you could add a question like, did you email me your PowerPoint? And they write yes, and you hit accept, and then their badge opens up a little more. So
Okay, I got you.
so there's definitely a lot of, like, cool things you could do with especially now it's remote. I mean, we had to adapt it. Normally in the classroom you'd be right there, but now you have to do a little more creative things for the projects to work really well. Hey, look, your eyes are black. That is really weird that it does that for you.
Might be the it's not
really,
the glasses.
Really,
I don't know.
Really creepy.
I know, right?
Wow, that's very interesting. That you could start a horror movie with that.
Oh, thanks.
Actually, when you open your mouth, you see through it too. So maybe you're not a real person. You're really a phantom. Yeah. So speaking of projects, have any of you actually used the grading rubrics at all, or?
I haven't.
Nope. Okay.
I select them, the first one, just to get rid of them, and then accept them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I mean, normally those grading rubrics are very powerful, but now they can still earn points, but but not as necessary. Okay. Cool.
I have a kind of a quick question.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So I'm trying to create something. We're in like play presentations. And this is, and I hit the resources, and I think the activity says plate activity handout. What's wrong with the plate presentation? So when kids download that, and then they could actually type on it what's wrong with the plates. How do they? I guess I didn't see. How do they upload it back to me?
Oh, there should be a prompt on there saying file upload, but it might be missing because normally in the classroom, the kids, they would just print it out and they would do it. So we don't have those file uploads in every single activity at the time. Because,
hey, Garnett, really quickly, which one is that?
I think it's a submit button.
I know, but which activity was it that he specifically, which activity?
That's the play presentation one with the, group prep basics.
Yeah, there's like 3 illustrations. You have to kind of click in the box and say what was wrong with it, either over portioning or was off the rim of the plate.
Find the problem. Yeah, I found it. So let me. It should be there, honestly. I'm looking at your account right now in your Hospitality Management 1 and 2 class. Now, it will look different on your teacher account than it does on your student account. So, for example, the teacher, you won't have a submit button on your teacher account, but if you went to the student side, they will have a button there. But what you see on your end just says file, and it says upload your plate activity.
Right.
They will have a button there on their account.
Okay. So that answers
it's just that you're on an instructor account, so we don't see a purpose for the teacher to upload to themselves a file, if you understand.
But the word file is their file, isn't it? If he clicked on file, their file would load for him?
Yes.
Say again?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, no, so the students will be able to upload, and then you'll be able to grade that evidence from the dashboard.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, so yeah, it's just a and that's we recommend, like, every teacher to enroll yourselves into your own classes so you can see their perspective as well. So very good. So I relocated to a waterfall area.
I see that.
Very nice.
So as far as, like, modifying, you said that one of you, was it Brad? You heavily modified the material. Oh, Jeff's showing you you see.
Garnett, if you look at my screen over here on the right, they'll have a submit button right there. That is actually one of your student accounts that's in your class, so they have the button there. But as you see, as I kind of scroll out, the activity looks different. And then while we're on this page, once they've completed, this was the badge that he's talking about, the red one. That if they do 1 of 4 pieces of evidence, they'd see a quarter of that badge, and so on and so forth.
Okay. So I'm going to have them do that this week. So I just want to make sure I'm ahead of the game, so I know what I'm looking for, and I'm just kind of easing my way into it. So I appreciate that.
One thing I can say creating your own account as a student and going in really helps a lot, understanding, because you see exactly what they're going to see, and a lot of times it's preempted questions that I knew I would get about it. So that's kind of why I'm doing a side by side. And a lot of times, bringing up questions, I'm like, hey, I'm learning as you are. But you know, if it's the technical or culinary information, you know, I can answer it quite a way. If it's information about the system itself, either I learn it or I email or I get on KP support and ask, and then hopefully get right back to them. And you know, we're pretty open. It's just like, hey, I might not have the answer right now, but I'll get back to you by, you know, within 24 hours.
Well, that's great. Yeah, it's definitely an experience, but you know, and once you get to know it, it becomes a very smooth process. But yeah, we've had teachers been using this for years, and they know how to you know, cut them off at the pass, basically. Because yeah, when the students enter into our system, it's nothing like they've ever experienced before with any kind of, like, you know, digital learning. And it's almost like a culture shock, because they're like, why can't I know the answer to this? Or what question did I get wrong? Well, no, it's the concept you're not getting right. You know, we're trying to make you a more deeper, stronger learner with a stronger depth of knowledge. So that's that's always a culture shock. But you know, that's basically like, you know, Michelle, like you said earlier, like, you know, I've been talking about like changing the standards in education for like over a decade now, like, you know, amplifying it, bringing it to the next level. But like, you know, I'm on the soapbox screaming, and everyone's like, no, all we need to do is just do what we've been doing for the past 50 or 100 years now. But fortunately, you know, we actually have a few partners and publishers who actually have signed on board with us, and they have their content in our system as well. That we're not providing. So basically, you know, they're using us as a platform to dispense their learning. And you know, this is more like a marketing statement, but like, you know, they're crushing the competition because of what they've done to elevate that. And then the teachers notice it. Like, it's not just like a PowerPoint with a 10-question quiz. It's a system with 100 questions item bank or something like that. So yeah, I mean, we're hoping that this will be taken further in the future, that more people will see the value in what KP does. And, you know, and actually, like, you know, you guys are the ones who are experiencing it. So, you know, letting other people know that, hey, there is a higher standard out there. There's something that can be done that's a little better than a Quizlet, so to speak. Yeah, I'm getting a little philosophical here, but that's one of the big things that I really get into, and that's the reason why I got into education, is to make that difference or make that change happen, slowly but surely. Slowly. But yeah. So anything else you want to know? A little bit more about the system, about KP? I mean, I'm happy to talk to you all, and it's really great to see you, because, like, you know, you've been corresponding so much through email, through text, through chat, and things like that. So it's really good to put faces to all those names that we are trying to, all the people that we're trying to help. So and we've been helping a lot. It's actually crazy that we've been able to handle this, but fortunately the system works really well. So the fires that we need to put out are really small fires.
Nai, Jeff, I actually have to get ready. I've got a Zoom meeting with my students here in about 7 minutes. I just want to say thank you for everything, and all the support, and you guys being so gracious to, you know, give out your resources. Really appreciate it. Thank you for that, and thanks for all the support on Facebook and, you know, emailing and everything. Really appreciate it, and look forward to learning more with you.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. I really do appreciate that. Actually, I had one quick question. You know, I know that you guys have tried a lot of everyone. You know, after we did our offer back in March 15th, it seemed like everyone else jumped on board with the free offer. So has anybody tried any of the other products that are out there, like My Culinary? I don't know. Is My Culinary Lab?
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right.
Yeah, Pearson has my culinary lab, and there are some other ones, but
Like
I like
Ruby.
how this is a little bit more interactive.
Sure.
And I think there's just a lot more
And
options.
in depth. That's what I like. It was
Yeah.
it's very in depth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because this is like a great period for everyone to try everything at once. So I was just curious, how what you've tried, what you've seen out there. I know there's definitely. I mean, we're not the only choice out there. Like there's Pearson and things like that. There's a CV actually. CV's, trying to do a lot of things as well. So. Oh, cool. So yeah. So thanks, Brad. So I got a question from Sandra. So using the Flora Virtual School Program, well, actually, we actually had a conversation with the Flora Virtual School about doing something with them about 6 years ago, and that went nowhere. But
their program's horrible. The program they have is horrible.
yeah, I know. So I talked to them. I said, hey, we have a platform that's going to elevate your whatever you guys are doing. I'm like, oh yeah, we're fine still using Python. I'm like, Python, okay, that's from like 1998 programming language, or even older than that. But anyway, yeah, so no, we don't do.
But they could use
They
you.
could, yes, they could, and actually, putting their stuff in our system could be a very quick process.
Okay.
It's just a matter of them getting off their high horse and saying, "Hey, we could use some other platform to elevate."
Well, we have one of those locally that is just our tri-state area.
Yeah.
So I might, during this training that we do, I might, put a bug in their ear about calling you.
Yeah. I mean, the platform, the backend authoring system we could import a lot of things pretty quickly. But the thing that they have to do next is like increase their item bank, and that's one of the things that they hate to do, because they're like, you need to write more questions. Like, yes, probably 5 times more questions than what you have right now.
Yeah, theirs is horrible. They let me sign up as a student one time, mistake, and it was horrible.
But I mean, I don't blame them. They're there just to do what they need to do. They didn't invest in technology or use like research to find better ways to learn. Heavily research driven, and also heavily innovation driven too. So we're coming up with new technologies. Like every year we roll out something new that's like, wow, that takes it to the next level, and we are stopping. So and that's one of our mantras is like, we never want to be stagnant, never want to be yesterday's technology, and always keeping up. We're actually staying ahead of the game. We were touting like mastery systems back in 2008 and 9, back before mastery wasn't even in the lexicon for most education groups, and about 3-4 years later, everyone's like, oh, we have to do a formative assessment mastery system because that's much better than the summative exams. I'm like, yeah, of course. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, So I talked to them a long time ago. I mean, they probably won't change, but hey, one can hope. Because for them, there's no other choice. So you're kind of like in a hostage situation. So why do they need to change? Because they've already got you. So why take it? Why do something better?
Well, for instance, they use the Dave Ramsey for the finance stuff, know.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to invest in Dave Ramsey, why not invest in something from some of your other programs, So
yeah, very, very true. So I mean, that's basically, my thoughts on that is, if they don't have competition, then why elevate? And that's the sad notion.
That's true.
A lot of larger companies, that they're just like, because they're just looking at the bottom line and not trying to improve the overall architecture.
Right. You're right.
But I mean, they do some innovations. Like, I've seen some innovations come out of McGraw-Hill and Pearson, and even Blackboard over the years. But there's so much more that can be done. That
you're right.
Should be done, can be done, should be done, but aren't being done. So yeah, good question. I wish we could have worked with them 6 years ago.
All right.
No, so awesome. So yeah, this is good because you know now you kind of like know a little bit more of our philosophy and our dreams moving forward. You know, we're not just here to just provide culinary education, but but really elevate the standards. So I appreciate you all listening to me about that because that's all I do is talk about the future, and the future is now.
Right.
Yeah, so this has been a really good hour. If you have any other questions, comments, anything, anything you want to know about KP, good question, Michelle, about where our questions come from. So actually, just a quick thing, so most of the videos, I'm one of the camera operators behind the videos, and in that thing, and I did all the sound editing. So fun stuff. Anybody have anything else like to know?
It's a lot of work for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. If you think 1997 to 98, the video platforms were very different then than they are now.
Right.
So
obviously, this is going to come to the forefront with all the things going on with the online and the hybrid, and I think you guys are going to excel. I really found you guys from the Department of Education from our state had a link, and there are a few resources, and I went down and your company was the one really what made sense. All the other ones were like, okay, there's some videos here and there and you can piece it together, but hey, you're on your own, let's go figure it out, and we're starting next Monday. So
yeah.
The thing that I've really liked, if I have questions, you guys are really on it and getting back to me, and I really appreciate that. One of the things that my CTE director is asking, because I've talked to her about it, is at some point, could we talk about price? What would be happening next year, or how would that go on? And then I guess the technical support, and because I think what they're doing typically for vocational education money, they're usually wrapping things up with purchase orders, but I think in this state they're allowing through August.
Okay.
Now,
yeah, I know a lot of people are doing overrides. So
yeah, so at some point maybe you could either
Jeff will take care of that, and he'll put together a package that works for your school.
Okay.
And I know we're going to be going down that route pretty soon here with everyone wrapping up and looking into the future. And definitely appreciate your investment in us because it really lets us do a lot more things. Like I have about a dozen crazy harebrained ideas that I want to do in the future, but being resource limited, if I'm resource rich, then those things will probably come to be. So that'd be pretty fun stuff. Yeah, so absolutely, and that's gonna definitely be coming around the corner pretty quick here, especially with overrides. And actually, I know in Florida, they have a special grant that's basically paying for culinary and ServSafe, because so there's and I think I sent that to you, Sandra. That a lot of schools are tapping into. So I know that Florida has a pool for that. I'm not sure about other states, but it's basically to get certifications. So they'll pay for resources, and then you also get paid for certs as well, which you already do anyway. But now they're actually putting funding towards that, especially for ServSafe. Probably now more than ever, ServSafe's more important.
Yeah, exactly.
Wash your hands. Good. Thanks for that. Or anything else? It's just cool to hang out. I wish I could do this all the time. Our first 4 weeks were wicked crazy, but now the email volumes have gone down tremendously. We got better support material and everything. So it's just cool to be able to actually. I'm gonna miss going out to conferences and seeing people again. So this summer. That's one of the things that I love most, is just seeing all the teachers that we've worked with over the years at conferences. I know you guys miss your kids, but my thing is conferences. That's the only time I get to see y'all. Actually, with Zoom now, I'm actually able to see you, because before we used to just do stuff through email or anyway. So this is actually a bigger change. Yeah.
All right. I've got to run,
Yep.
but thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I love this. So absolutely, maybe we'll do another one in the future just to have a powwow.
Right on.
It's
Sounds
great.
good.
It's good to see everybody.
Take
Bye.
care. Everybody be safe.
Be
Yeah,
safe.
Thank you, Nai and Jeff. Bye-bye.
Hey, Garnett, really quickly, if you didn't see my message, I just shot you my email. Okay, you did. Perfect.
Yep. Awesome.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you saw that. So
I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate that.
We'll chat about the pricing options. We'll get you a good price.
Okay, awesome.
We have a few multiple ones, all depending on your size. So we'll get the right price for you guys.
Yeah, you know what? We're pretty big, and also, you know, the chat with the with our county, they're actually looking for something universal for the whole county. So
to be honest with you, when you go in at what we call a district buy or a county will buy, that's even larger than the district. Or I don't remember exactly where you said you were. That's where you and Jacinda's Celine's. Well, she just ducked out of the call. I was gonna say ask her. They actually did that. Last time that they purchased this a few years ago, it can get you, it's small, but it's still a discount when you go in with multiple schools. You know, and then the more schools you have, the better discount you get. So it's always advantageous to hit this, you know, with the hammer that works for the whole district or whatnot. But yeah, we can discuss all that.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, yeah, just shoot me an email when you're ready, and then we can chat back and forth, or we can do a phone call real quick and kind of chat about it. Sound good?
Okay, awesome.
Perfect. Well, I will leave then. You guys have a great rest of the day.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Bye.